Welcome to WorldCFMMusic. In this video, we're going to go over basic song service piano lesson 1. Let's get started. All right, so in this video, I'm going to go over some basic fundamentals, and hopefully by the end, you'll be able to start playing some music on the piano. First things first, it's important that you have correct posture when playing the piano. I know that I'm standing, and I know that there are many who prefer to play sitting down. Whatever your preference is, I'm going to try to cover good posture for both types of playing. If you are standing, as I am in this case, you want your elbows to be slightly bent, your wrists above the keyboard. This is the keyboard here. You want your wrists probably a couple inches above the keyboard so that your fingers can comfortably play, so that they drop right down onto the keys. If you're playing below, it really limits your mobility. So you want to be able to have a straight posture. You want to have a straight back, shoulders pulled back slightly versus slouched over. It really hinders your mobility, as I mentioned before. When it comes to sitting down, it's pretty much the same. The only difference is you probably want to be somewhere around a 90-degree angle when you're playing piano sitting down. Same idea. You want to have a straight back, shoulders slightly pulled back, and that way you can play nice and comfortably. All right. Next, let's move on to notes. All right, so now that we've gone over posture, let's look at the actual piano. This is the keyboard. The keyboard is full of keys. All the whites, all the blacks that you see, these are called the keys on the keyboard. Now each key has a note attached to it, and those notes are represented by the letters A through G. So you hit an A, you go all the way through G, and then the cycle just repeats. So I'm going to show you an A note for starters. And the position is very important. You'll notice that the A note is just tucked inside these cluster of 3 black keys. So you see the 3 black keys up here, it's the second white note inside those 3 black keys. That's an A. So if I move up to the next white key, that's a B, C, D, E, F, G. And as I mentioned before, it just repeats, so we go back to A. Now you recall me saying that the A note is the second white note inside the 3 black keys. And you'll notice that it's the same spot, just up higher on the piano. 3 black keys, it's the second white note. 3 black keys, second white note. All of those are A notes. Okay? So, and this goes for any note on the piano. If I were to play a C, the C note is just before the 2 black keys. So if I were to go to the next 2 black keys up here, the note just before them is also a C. And the same up here. And the same way down here. Each of those are a C note. So this is very important in memorizing where things are at on the piano. It's a very helpful pattern to know, that you can play anything, anywhere on the piano, and you know exactly what note you are playing. Here is a G. All of those are G notes. So then you have the black keys. You're probably wondering, well, what are those notes? These are called your sharps and your flats. So if you were to go to a C note, and you go up to a black key, this is called a C sharp. If you go to a D, and then you go up a half step, it's a D sharp. If you go to an E, and you move up, you'll notice there's no black key in the middle. There's no such thing as an E sharp, and so it just goes immediately to the next note. But if you move up, it's an F sharp. Now, it changes a little bit. That's going up the piano. If you were to go down, it's considered a flat. Kind of like if you get a flat tire, your tire goes down. This is an E note. If you go down, it's an E flat. If you're playing a D, this is a D flat. So it's a matter of what position you're in. This is usually called a C sharp. It's also known as a D flat. And you can see this in the diagram on the PDF that I will put in the description below. This is usually a C sharp, E flat, F sharp, A flat, B flat. Just how I familiarized myself with it. Okay, so now that I've shown you the notes on the piano, next I'm going to show you how to play a chord. A chord is a group of notes that are played at the same time. Now there are two types of chords I'm going to be showing you in this lesson. The first is a major chord. The second is called a minor chord. These are the two types of chords you will see most in songs. Okay, so what we're going to do first is we're going to identify our fingers by number. Your thumbs are your first finger, index is second, middle finger is third, ring finger is fourth, and your pinky is your fifth finger. So using your right hand, let's start with a major chord. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a pattern of keys on the keyboard to press, and that's going to help you identify how to play any major chord on the piano. And that pattern is going to be 1, 5, 8. So what we're going to do is you're going to put your thumb on the key that represents the chord you are playing. So if you were playing a C chord, you would put your first finger or your thumb on the C note. If you were playing an E chord, you would put your thumb on the E note. All right, so in this first example, we're going to play a C major chord. So my thumb is going to be, my first finger is going to be on the C note. Now you remember, you may recall that I gave you the pattern of 1, 5, and 8. What we're going to do is we're going to count each key in order. This is whites and blacks. And we're going to hit number 1. We've already pressed that one. The next number is 5. So here's 2, 3, 4, 5. You're going to play your third finger on the fifth key. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then you're going to use your fifth finger or your pinky to play the eighth key. So here was 5, 6, 7, and 8. So you're hitting keys 1, 5, and 8 with your first, third, and fifth fingers. And that's a C major chord. So let's try a different chord. Let's say we're playing an E major chord. Your thumb would go on number 1. Then you would count to 5 and count to 8. So here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You see I'm stopping on a black key. That's fine. Okay, my middle finger is going to play that note. 6, 7, and 8. Play those together. Should sound just like that. So here's our C chord again, our C major chord, playing 1, 5, and 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. 1, 5, 8. So let's say we had to play a C sharp major chord. This is C. As I mentioned before, you're going to go up a half step because it's going sharp to the black key. So that's going to be your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Looks a little bit different. You're playing 2 black keys this time, but that is a C sharp major chord. All right, and so you can pick any key, any note on the piano. That'll be the root note of your chord, and then you can play a major chord. So if I were to go down here, this is an A flat. We're going down a half step to the black key. So if we had to play an A flat major chord, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Middle finger goes here. 6, 7, 8. That's an A flat major. If we were playing a D major chord, D, here's your D note. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So now you can play a major chord anywhere on the piano or any kind of major chord that you might see on a piece of sheet music. So next, we're going to learn how to play a minor chord. Minor chords, the pattern is very similar. There's just one slight difference. You're still going to have your same fingering identification. The only difference now is that it's going to be a different finger pattern, and that pattern is going to now be 1, 4, and 8. Now let me backtrack a little bit. The way you identify whether a chord is major or minor is that for minor chords you will see a small m written just to the right of the letter. So if we were playing a C minor on a piece of sheet music, it would show as C small m. All right? D small m, that would be a D minor chord. All right, so let's practice. A C minor chord. Thumb goes on C, just like we did with the major chord, but now we're going to go to the 4th key. 1, 2, 3, 4. A little bit different. And then go to your 8th, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's a C minor chord. Okay. Let's play a D minor chord. Find your D note right here. D. That's your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right. There's your D minor chord. And that's how you play major and minor chords. So what I want you to practice is maybe getting a piece of sheet music, identifying the types of chords that are there. We'll go into other more complex kinds of chords in future videos, but for now, if there's a small m next to it, play that as a minor chord. If there's not a small m next to it, just play as if it were a major chord. All right? Play a C chord, play a G chord, and then switch it. Play a C minor chord, play an E minor chord, and that'll give you lots of practice. And the more that you practice these kinds of chords, the more you'll start to remember where they are. And you won't have to spend so much time trying to find, where's my root note? You can just know, you'll begin to learn right away. This is a C chord, this is an E chord, so on and so forth. So there you go. Now you can play major and minor chords. And that brings us to the end of Basic Song Service Piano Lesson 1. Now I want to encourage you to go and practice. Practice is the most important thing that you can do if you want to be able to play any instrument. Going and spending the time, a few minutes a day if you can, whatever time you can, to just practice the things that you have learned in this video. As you begin to memorize where the notes are, how to play major and minor chords, you'll pick up piano a lot faster. And very soon, hopefully, you'll be able to start playing some songs. Now, I did provide a PDF, and the link is in the description below, where you can go and print out a copy of the lesson that ties to this video. And you'll see that at the end of that PDF, I've given you a small exercise in playing a variety of different types of major and minor chords. You can play a C major chord, an A major chord, a D minor chord, a B major chord, and ending it on an F sharp minor chord, just to give you a little bit of a challenge. So this will give you plenty of exposure in playing different types of chords. And so I hope that helps you out. If you have any questions, you're welcome to email me at WorldCFMMusic@gmail.com. And you're also welcome to check out some of the resources on WorldCFMMusic.com. That's the website. And I hope you have a great day. Go practice that piano.